Welcome to the West Coast Speakeasy, Vancouver Island's finest.
What's really come up for me in recent years is that painting something like that for somebody in your life that has passed away, um using these traditional art forms, it becomes much more than graffiti. It becomes much more than an alias painted on the wall. It becomes ceremonial and spiritual, and something also done with respect to the ancestors of the land that I'm painting on. I always keep that in mind too, and we have to, as people who come from a different place, because like I say, I'm not originally from here. My ancestors aren't from here, but for different reasons, post colonization, a lot of our people have moved away from our homelands to cities like Victoria, Vancouver, Nanaimo, for work, for education, for housing, because there's just not enough of these things on our reservations and in our villages. And it's, yeah, complex and complicated for people that live at home. But I think it's a very important teaching as well, that if we're doing work on another person's territory, to again do things with respect, with good intention, in a way that doesn't mean any harm to the people locally who are originally from this land. Yeah. Anyway, my pieces um at these places like Trackside, Wildfire, yeah. I don't know, it just gained such a deeper meaning for me after doing that, and after doing some of these other pieces, memorial pieces. One that really stands out to me, one thing that really changed things for me as an artist, I think, as well, is the first thing I did after I sobered up, which was a big piece at the trackside. Again, I only have pictures of it now because someone painted over it, but it's really special. It's a big section of wall. Um, and it was soon after what came out in the news about the 215 bodies found near a residential school site in Kamloops in Sequamic territory. Just after hearing that in the news, it really struck something in me, because I have so many elders in my life. Almost all my grandparents went to residential school, and countless uh, uncles and aunties, elders in my family. And I've just honestly heard so many horrendous, atrocious stories about the things that they've endured in these places, things that they've shared with me and publicly, uh, in a big place of vulnerability and courage. Really sad, sad stories. Just as a parent, I couldn't imagine my kids at that age, their age, that they were when they were in these places, going through, you know, um, and, you know, I can't get into that because I've realized um, that, of course, that, these stories of my grandmothers just aren't necessarily mine to tell.
Mhm.
That's their story to tell. If one day they ask me to share their story, then I would take that responsibility very. Uh, I would take that very seriously. But I just wanted to do something. Again, there's something in my core, in my spirit, that just compelled me to want to uh, paint something for my elders that went to these places. It's very much known within their communities that uh, children passed away in these places for a variety of different reasons, you know. In Alert Bay, there's St. Michael's Residential School. There's children who, and it's documented, you know, there's children who tried to swim away off the island and did not make it, trying to escape these places. You know, I wanted to do something that really honored uh, my elders who survived this horrendous form of treatment, and also the kids that did not make it, and also something that honored my kids, um, Gila and Rudy. So yeah, I painted some different designs that honored uh, my ancestry. You know, because from every tribe, every family, we have these different family crests, right? So on my Tlawitsi side, from my granny Christine Speck, it's the butterfly that really represents us. As the origin story from that area has to do with the butterfly and other things as well, right? Like the wolf is something that I think of when I think of my grandma Elizabeth Taylor, who has the same name as the actress, but she is the OG. No, just kidding. But um, um, so yeah, I painted some different designs, which yeah, honored my grandparents, my friend Osha DeWolf. Um, painted some beautiful portraits of my sons Gila and Rudy in button blankets and regalia, which is just so special. Like she is absolutely one of my favorite artists, and again, all her work is done with spray paint. Um, just beautiful portrait work from her in her own unique way. And again, that is something where, yeah, like I say, is the first thing I really did in this newfound sobriety. Suddenly, I'm thinking clearly. Suddenly, it's like my hands are steady because
Mhm,
when you're drinking every day, going through withdrawals, you're a shaky person,
mhm.
and you can't really create these type of designs when you're shaky like that. You know, I look at my old work and I can see that
You can see the difference.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that my spirit wasn't really fully with me, you know, the spirit
Has it been 5 years now that you've been sober?
almost almost 5,
Almost
it'll be
5?
5 years on May the 12th. And
Congratulations, man.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. You know, so much has changed in my life since cutting this substance out of my life, you know. It's like, you know, some people can handle it, but you know, it's just like I'm the kind of person who can't, you know. Like once I start with one drink, I can't stop. My late uncle Bo Dick once called me. He used to give me this funny nickname. He used to call me the insatiable one. You know, he would say, "How are you doing today? Insatiable as always." And I would just be like, what does he mean by that? I would say to my friend, like, what does he mean by that? I just didn't understand what he meant at the time. I
Mhm.
didn't comprehend the definition of this word insatiable.
Yeah.
But I look at it and it's just like, I see what he means, you know? This is like once I start, I can't stop, you know? Once I have one coffee, even I'm like, oh, I want to have another after maybe, you know, once I have a delicious piece of salmon, like, oh, I just want another until I'm completely full and feeling lazy and you know, uh but I like I say, balance is important. It's important to maintain a balance between these things, and I try my best to now in recovery. You know, but yeah, it's just like that's one thing I'll say is that in those moments of grief that I mentioned, suddenly my response wasn't to drink anymore. Suddenly my response to grief was to paint, to pick up a paint can and go to the trackside where I used to live. I used to live 10 minutes away from it. So it became a very sacred space to me. It's a sacred space to me on this territory. It really is, because it's just like it's beautiful to cross to walk by, just to see all the amazing artists who put hours and a lot of their own money into what they create. And to have it's been a while since I painted there, and I want to do something for my aunties who just passed away recently, because the grieving, it just never ceases. I just come from such a big family, and I feel like I'm at an age now where, unfortunately, it's like a lot of our elders from a certain age are starting to pass away. And I, as much as I don't want to maybe admit it or talk about it, I feel like I'm at this age now where I'm just like, it's it's an inevitable part of life,
For sure. Yeah.
but it's never easy to deal with. Um, you know, Apart from our elders, there's also a lot of young people who passed away, like my uncle Mike. It was like maybe around my dad's age, a bit younger, maybe. A lot of younger people passing away due to the effects of drugs and alcohol and fentanyl and so much more. I've known so many people that have passed away in the past decade. Uh, I have some lines in one song called Another that just came out because it's just like, um, for us Buckwum and Kwakwala basically just translates to like indigenous person,
Hmm.
native person.
Yep.
For us Buckwum, it seems the grieving never ceases, ain't enough paint for the many memorial pieces. As another brown brother tags rest in peace for someone far too young to be deceased. In the streets, the morning songs play on and on um, from the morning to the night and dusk till dawn. Just that first statement, just there's not enough paint for the many memorial pieces that I would like to do. There's
Hmm.
not enough time, it feels, in my life to be able to paint the amount of memorials that I want to do for the people I've known that have passed away. It's crazy. It's sad, but like that's why I say that painting, music, the different creative work that I do is just an integral part of the healing process, because it's just like, um yeah, just through a paint can, just through the mere act of writing that person's name is just a simple way to honor that person. Simple yet complex and special and significant.
Hmm.
Anyway,